Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, walking with purpose. And today I have probably one of the hottest topics to discuss. And if you actually pay attention to this entire video, it's going to save you a lot of time and heartache, whether you're a man or a woman. And the topic I'm going to be discussing is the reality of the swipe left, swipe right culture. One more time, the reality of the swipe left, swipe right culture. So first of all, let me share my thoughts about why the swipe left and swipe right culture was primarily created for. I'll tell you why I feel it was primarily created for. It was created to make a ton of money. And it certainly does. Because while most of these apps nowadays that are swipe left and swipe right dating apps, they are free, which is what I'm trying to say. They have a free aspect. There is a paid aspect that leads you to believe if you pay for these swipe left and swipe right apps, you're going to find the love of your life. You're going to get more matches. You're going to hook up with more women if you're a guy, or if you're a woman, you're going to hook up with more men, right? And that is the absolute furthest thing from the truth. So let me tell you what happens when you go on these apps, because before I met the woman I'm with right now, I was using some of these apps such as Bumble and Hinge. Hinge is not really a swipe left, swipe right. It's, you like the profile or you X out of it. I'm sure at some point Hinge is going to switch to the swipe aspect of it. Now, maybe they haven't done that, or maybe they won't do that because they don't want to be considered a swipe left or swipe right app. But it might as well be one because it's a similar principle to Bumble, right? So what's happening when you're going on these sites? Okay, people are just looking at pictures. That's what you see. You're basically swiping on somebody to the right if you think they're hot and attractive and you want to date them, whether they're a man or a woman, or whether you're a man or woman, which is what I'm trying to say. Or you swipe left if you don't find them attractive, but you know nothing about them. You know nothing about them unless you click into their profile, right? And then when you click into the profiles of these swipe left and swipe right sites, you have very little information. Now, these apps can actually allow you to write full-blown profiles like Match.com does and some other sites do, right? But why don't they do it? Because they are preying on one thing. They are preying on your emotions. They're preying on your emotions because they know that you're out there trying to find the hottest person, but you also want someone that's going to stick around, right? This is the thing, folks. When it comes to, dating, the way you need to approach it is by figuring out what you want first, okay? Before you go on any dating app, whether it's swipe left, swipe right, whether it's a full-blown, profile type of site like Match.com, which is what I recommend, or eHarmony, or OkCupid, or Plenty of Fish, or, Coffee Meets Bagel, or whatever, right? Before you put yourself out there, you need to know exactly what you want, okay? If you want a relationship, you state that, and you stick to that, right? If you're looking for just something casual, you put, I'm looking for something casual, because there are people out there that are looking for it, right? They're looking for something casual, right? Okay? The one thing that I can't stand is when people are actually looking for something casual and they pretend to want a relationship, right? And they do that because they're trying to convince any woman possible, even if she's not looking for something casual. They're trying to, guys do this to try to convince the woman to sleep with them, right? Okay? It's not a good way to do it. Okay? And if you manipulate somebody to get that, that's just not good karma, right? Okay? So, in my opinion, if you're going to use these swipe left and swipe right sites, okay, you have to, like I said, you have to know what you want. Let's say you want a relationship, okay? If you want a relationship, let's say you're a guy swiping right on women you see that are attractive, right? What I would suggest to do, first of all, is before you swipe right on someone, you can always click on these profiles and look to see where they're from, and what they're seeking. They'll say relationships, they'll say casual, they'll say whatever, right? So I would take the extra time to look at that. Additionally, if you're a guy, you have to understand that, let's say, you're on a site like Bumble, where, even if you match with a woman, right, she has to initiate contact first or it'll never happen, right? Now, Bumble leads you to believe that if you get a response from a woman because she has to initiate contact first, that you're home free and that's the love of your life. No, it's the furthest thing from the truth. Guys, you have to understand that, and even gals too, you have to understand, just because you connect with somebody through one of these apps and contact's initiated, it doesn't mean anything, right? The both of you have to make something out of it, right? But more so the guys seem to struggle with this because, guys have far fewer options nowadays. So if you're a guy, this is what you're going to expect, right? On these swipe left, swipe right sites. What you can expect is this, is that out of every 100 women that you have a conversation with, and in order for that to happen, you got to be swiping all day, every day, right? I'm just giving you an example here, right? Out of every 100 women that you have a conversation with, that sends you an initial first message, right? I'd say about 1 or 2 of them might be legitimately and seriously interested in you to see, if you're a match for a real relationship. The rest of the other women either are playing games, are seeking validation, or have many other options that they perceive to be better than you, whether it be from a physical attractive standpoint, or they like the other guy's profiles better, or they've already met in person and they're seeing where it goes, right? You have to understand as a guy that just because you're talking with someone or somebody initiates a conversation with you on a site like Bumble, it doesn't mean anything, right? Okay? It doesn't mean anything. What you need to do is, try to take the conversation off the swipe left or swipe right or any dating app for that sake. You want to take the conversation off the app and, onto your phones, right? It's, in my opinion, the best thing to do is a phone call. But if you're going to text initially for a little bit before you even go to a phone call, right, and decide if you're going to meet, if you're going to text initially, it is better to text on your actual cell phone numbers than through the app. I will tell you why. Because if a woman gives you her phone number, that means she's got a decent level of interest in you, at least compared to most other matches. Doesn't mean you're a top choice, but it means that you're one of maybe a few guys out of the tons of guys they're talking with that they, want to give a chance to get to know, right? Doesn't mean you're out of the woods. It means that you're maybe in the top 2 or 3 instead of the top 100, right? Okay? So I always say this, if you're going to, let's say you match on Bumble with somebody and the woman initiates the conversation and then, you're going back and forth a few messages. If it's going well, you want to ask them, what are you seeking out here on Bumble, right? You ask because even though they may say a relationship, maybe it was a mistake. A lot of times these women create these profiles very quickly, and half the time they don't even know what they're putting in there. Half the time they're putting in their wrong age. I think some of them do that on purpose because they want to, they want to attract younger men, and because they think they look younger, they're putting a younger age than they are. But sometimes they make honest mistakes. So you want to ask, hey, it's great to connect with you, whatever her name is, Jack, Jill, whatever, right? Oh, Jackie, not Jack, that's a male name. Jackie, Jill, whatever. It's great to connect with you. What are you seeking out here on Bumble? If they get back to you in a reasonable amount of time within that same day, typically, right? Then they say, okay, hey, I'm looking for something, long term. How about you? I'm looking for the same thing. Great. I'd really like to get to know you. I'm not really big on spending a lot of time on dating apps. I was wondering if you'd like to send me your number, and I'll text you to arrange a call. I think a phone call would be great to see how we communicate, and if that goes well, maybe we can meet, right? You got to be direct, decisive, and to the point, okay? Especially on these swipe left, swipe right apps, because everyone's swiping left and right, and everyone has a ton of options. And while it may, be perceived as women only get a ton of options, if you're a guy, you know how to work these apps, you can have a ton of options as well too. Before I met the woman I was with, I had a ton of options. I was talking to lots of women, okay? So you want to try to get the woman to give you her phone number. If she doesn't give you her phone number, okay, we'll say, well, I'm not interested in communicating on this app. Have a great day. Take care. You can block her if you want after that, unmatch with her, or you can see how she responds. But typically, if a woman doesn't give you her number and says she wants to communicate through the app, it means that there's a guy up there looking at me. It means that she's not feeling comfortable giving you her number, or she's talking to so many other guys. She wants to keep it on the app because she hasn't decided who she wants to focus on yet. So, anyway, give me just a second here. How's it going? Good guy over there. Just wanted to not get him into the video, so I went around the other way. It's all good. Now, if she gives you her phone number, then you send her a text later on that afternoon or early evening and say, hey, it's blah, blah, blah from Bumble. Nice to connect with you off the app. When are you free for a brief phone call so we can get to know each other? And always say brief phone call. Sometimes they'll go longer, but always say a brief phone call, because that way you're conveying to the woman that your time is valuable and her time is valuable, right? And typically if the woman is interested, and really, if she has a high level of interest, which is what I'm trying to say, she will want to talk with you right away. So you get on the phone, and if the conversation flows and goes well, then you want to set up a date as soon as possible, typically by the next day or the day after. I will tell you this, guys and gals. I will tell you this, okay? If you wait more than 1 or 2 days to meet up with someone that you've had a great connection with, even if you're taking it to the phone and it was going well, if you wait more than 2 days to meet them, at least briefly, to see if chemistry's there, they will forget about your existence and you will probably forget about theirs, right? So how do you handle it? If you're, let's say it's a Monday, then you work week, right? You and her both work, right? You're talking to this woman, right? And you get to the phone and things are going great. You let her know this. Say, hey, look, I really like how this is going. You seem like a great lady, and I really want to give this a fair chance. You be the man and say, I really want to give this a fair chance. But I know if we wait till the weekend when we're both off to meet, because of the way this modern world is, we're going to forget about each other's existence. So I know this may be kind of a little crazy, but how about we meet tomorrow or the next day briefly for a half an hour after we both get off of work, maybe like in a supermarket parking lot, or, if you have to absolutely do coffee, then that's fine. I'm not really big on doing coffee. Let me just wait a second here. There are some guys coming, so I'm going to show you some beautiful scenery for a second. Coffee is okay, but I would prefer to just either take an evening walk around a shopping center parking lot. One thing I do is I used to meet women like in a Safeway parking lot in the early evening, and a lot of people say that's kind of crazy, but here's the bottom line. It's a safe place. There are lots of people there. And here's the thing. Even if you're hanging out in your car in the Safeway parking lot and it's dark, right, and it's still safe, it's giving you an opportunity for some kissing and passion to happen. You want to put yourself in a position where some type of affection can happen, or there will not be a second date, right? And don't be afraid to put yourself in that position with every woman you're interested in, because here's the thing. If they're really interested in you, they will find a way to put themselves in that position, because if like I said, if they're just excited or just as excited to meet you as you are to meet them, or to meeting them, I mean, right? Okay? They're going to be looking forward to making out with you, and they're going to be okay with meeting you like in a supermarket parking lot in the early evening, and you sit in your car and talk, and they're going to want to make out with you because they want it to move forward. Hang on a second here.
Did you see what we...
Yeah, it's the middle of the work day. It is a Tuesday. I'm recording this, and there are a decent amount of people out here on this trail. Some people work morning shifts out here in the Bay Area where I live, and they're off by the afternoon, and then they're just hitting the trails, which is totally fine. But anyway, I've got a couple other people coming. I guess I need to start coming out here and doing these walks a lot earlier during the day. But my schedule's been kind of crazy lately. I've been putting out a ton of content. And hey, if you meet the woman and things go well, you make out, and you briefly meet during the regular course of the week, then you can say, hey, wow, I had a great time. You seem amazing. I'd love to do something a little bit more than just make out in my car with you this weekend if you're around, right? And if they're really feeling it, if they're making out with you and they're really feeling it, they'll meet up. Now, some women, you have to understand this, guys. Some women will just make out with any guy. You have to also take into consideration that some women will just make out with any guy, right? Or if you're at least somewhat attractive, right? But then they'll go home that night and they'll be like, oh my God, we made out in the car and it felt all good, but I'm having second thoughts, right? You got to understand, women are emotional beings. They're going to change their mind on the flip of a dime, right? And just because, you're kissy and all affectionate on that first meeting and everything else has gone right, it doesn't mean you're going to get the second date. In many cases, you don't. I've been in those situations before. If that happens to you guys, don't get discouraged. Just lather, rinse, and repeat the process I shared with you here in this video today. And eventually you will find someone that will give you that second date after you make out on the first date. But the point I'm trying to make here is this. Don't let these swipe left and swipe right. I have a hard time saying this. It's a tongue twister. Don't let these swipe left and swipe right dating apps control you. You control them, right? You control what happens on them. Guys, especially for you guys, because you guys are always complaining, I don't get enough matches, I don't, or I meet up with a woman and it never goes anywhere. You're in control of that. You got to do your proper amount of vetting and getting to know them and asking lots of questions before you decide to even meet, right? Why would you want to put yourself in a situation where you're uncertain about what's going to happen? Now, you're not going to be completely certain when you first meet with somebody on a first date, no matter what you do, but you can give yourself a better chance by setting it up better, right? talking with her on the phone, having great communication with her on the phone, hearing her tone of voice. Is it more feminine or is it more rough and masculine sounding, right? You gotta get to know the person as quickly as possible, from the dating app to the phone, then meeting in person briefly to see if there's chemistry, and then seeing if she feels the same way the next day when she wakes up and wants to hang out with you on the weekend for a hike, dinner, or something more elaborate. And if that happens, more than likely, if you play your cards right, by the second or third date, you'll be intimate with her. That's the way it goes. So that's everything I had to say about the swipe left and swipe right culture. I do not prefer it. I've met my last several women from Match.com. I still think Match.com is one of the best dating sites. Is there a swipe left and swipe right option on Match? Yeah, they threw that in there because everyone else is doing it practically, right? But if you want a dating site or dating app, Match was a dating site long before smartphones came out. They just added a dating app aspect to it, right? If you want your best shot of true love and happiness, there are only two sites out there I highly endorse. Number one is Match.com, and number two is eHarmony. But I prefer Match.com because eHarmony they have too long of a process before it gets to open communication. And, in this fast-paced world, I think eHarmony needs to do something to kind of speed up that open communication process, because that's where you truly start getting to know someone. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you all for taking the time to view this video. Another video is coming to this channel soon. Please like, share, subscribe, bang the bell, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Take care. Bye-bye.